Welcome to the Script on Video, Who's Who and What's What with the River City Community Players in Leavenworth, Kansas. I'm Bill Campsey, and joining me today is the director for the upcoming show, Westside Story, Eric Van Horn. Eric, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience as an actor, a technical director, and as a director?
Well, I started off working in theater on stage, auditioning for roles. I spent about 10 years as an actor on stage, also working backstage, stage management, lighting control, and then I moved up to lighting design work and setting lights, and always helping with sets in whatever production I was working on. And I learned very much from the directors who were directing me in those shows, who were teaching me about sets, about lights, to become a better technician and a technical director. And then I also moved into the interpretation field through their direction, and they kind of groomed me up to be a director, and so I've been directing for over 10 years now.
Excellent. Is it fair to ask what you enjoy more?
It's fair to ask, but I don't know what I enjoy more. There are some roles that as an actor inside of my heart that I just, are dream roles that I love to do. And but there's always a satisfaction of giving birth to a creative process and seeing that process fulfill to its final outcome that you had envisioned earlier on, years or months earlier.
Right.
So.
Well, in those 10 years that you've been growing as a director that you talked about, you've gained a reputation for bringing special and creative things to some of our shows. For instance, in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, you put everybody in sort of a cartoon character outfit. I remember that, it was in the show. In Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, in one of the songs you replaced musical instruments with a cappella singing. How do these ideas come to you?
It's a feel. It's hard to explain. It's something that just happens when I see a scene. I do a videotape in my head of how I see the scene being portrayed, how I see it rolling out and being played in front of the audience. And at different times, a scene is not strong enough for me in my head in that videotape. It's not impacting enough, and it just makes me think, saying, I need to do something else, something different with it. And then all of a sudden something happens, and I start slamming my leg with my hand like this, and it comes to me, and all of a sudden there's this idea in front of me, and it's just very exciting. And then that's what it is. Then I drive on that excitement, and that excitement throws me into it, and then all of a sudden out of that excitement and out of that need for making sure that everything is just as perfect as I possibly can make it on the stage, that's what creates these unusual ideas that I sometimes have.
Well, what made you pat your thigh for Westside Story, if you want to share some of that with us?
There are different things. There's one scene where, which is a very important song to me within the show, and it's Tony's song, Something's Coming. It sort of sets out this Tony character that he's looking for something more in life than what he has right now, which is the gang, which is working at docks. There's more out there in the world, and he wants it. And he's looking for it. He knows it's coming to him. With the use of the set, which was one of the driving forces of some of the set design on this, is I create a scene where Tony is talking about that, and as the song ends, and he's fading out in the music and fading out in vocals, and the lights are fading out with him at that time, the lights simultaneously be fading on what is coming, which is Maria as she appears on stage.
Okay.
That made me pat my leg really good.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. I hope you didn't give too much away.
No. There's still lots of secrets left in the show and lots of surprises for audience members.
If you haven't noticed already, we're on a partially constructed set of Westside Story. So we decided to move around to various parts of the set to give you a close-up look at what it's all about. What do we have here, Eric?
Well, because there are so many multiple scenes within Westside Story, whenever I direct a show, the one thing that I try to do the most is be flowing, have the show flow from scene to scene with very little breaks between them.
You lose an audience in that.
Exactly, and it's very, scene changes are going to happen in big musicals. I mean, it's not like one set and you do this entire musical in one set. So in this show, there are a number of different sets. So in creating the set concept, one of the things that I came up with was this, which is a turntable.
It goes all around.
So
look at that.
One wall is one set, and then in a blackout, and 2 seconds later, all of a sudden it's another wall with a different set on it. That'll help the transitions between scenes, and and maintain a consistency of the different sets that we need on the stage.
Well, this seems pretty complex for something in the community theater. Is it tough to make all of this work?
No, you just call him Tom Lahan. Tom, who has always been my construction chief on the sets, we discussed it, and it's simple. It's a pivot, it's a pipe down the center of it between the two, enough wheels on the bottom that will support its weight, a round table, and it goes. And Tom took a crew of guys that didn't have any experience in building and gave them the floor plans and directions and said, go for it. They did.
Well, having been under Tom's tutelage and only been able to swing a hammer, I can attest to what you've just said. Why do you think the RCCP picked this show?
Westside Story is one of the best musicals that I believe is out there. And it's best because it encompasses so many things. Very good, strong music, strong lyrics, and a very, very strong story. It has all the it requires all the elements of good musical theater. It requires good actors to perform the roles because they're not fluff roles. I mean, there's serious dialogue that goes on. There's serious situations and serious scenes within the show. It requires good dance because it emphasizes and it focuses on some dance in the era, and it sets up a lot of songs for dance. And it also requires good music. It's very difficult musically, I'm told from my musical director. I am not a music person, and though I am learning a lot and have learned a lot over the years, and I know what sounds good and what feels good for me, but Marcia says the rhythms in this particular show are very difficult, and very difficult for the performers. It's an extremely difficult show to do, but you know what? That makes it so sellable to the audiences. The audiences like it. It's a classic. It's well known. It's got name recognition. So the audiences will enjoy it, and if I do my job right, they're going to really enjoy it a lot.
Excellent. That's great. Speaking of the quality of the show, it seems like anyone who knows anything about Shakespeare and know anything about West Side Story, they tend to emphasize that this show was built off of Bill Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. But I know in conversations with you before that you de-emphasize that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I think de-emphasize it is a good word because I'm not denying it, and I'm not totally going against every classic theater reviewer who compares this to Romeo and Juliet. But if you did a side-by-side comparison of Romeo and Juliet and West Side Story, there are quite a few differences between the two. Even the finale, the ending of it, there's a major difference between the two. The shows don't end the same.
Okay.
How they are developed is on the same premise. And the premise is love. And it's forbidden love. It's love with a barrier between it of some type. Romeo and Juliet had that wall that was between the Capulets and the Montagues, okay? Maria and Tony have that wall which is between the Jets and the Sharks. That's what it's based on, is just forbidden love between two people. And both shows have passion in it. Passion and a love that's so undying and that's so strong that it'll make them do whatever they need to do to be together. So they do parallel and they are in common in that. But you know what? West Side Story is a great script. It's a great story as it is. It's a great piece of work. And so therefore, it's its own entity. And it shouldn't be compared to another great piece of work by another great author, okay? It deserves its own recognition because it deserves its own place in musical theater history, and it has it.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I tell you what, let's go to another part of the set here.
Okay.
We're 6.5 feet above the stage level, sitting on a platform. And as you can see, there's a chain link fence behind me, and further behind that, and I don't know how well you can see it at home, there's a backdrop that's been painted. Tell us a little bit about these things, Eric.
Sure. New York is big. It's high. Skyscrapers, that's what you think of New York, and so I needed more height on the stage. Mm-hmm. By coming up this high, it gives me another playing area at this level. It also gives a lot of height to the set, and I like that. As far as the fence, I do have to give a plug because
Good.
They deserve it to Leavenworth Fence. They provided all the fencing, came in and installed it all for me. and even let me dirty it up and texturize it too with paint. So very much appreciative of all their hard work.
And this stuff is not cheap.
No, no,
Okay.
no. So they had special plates welded together, and they're bolted into the stage, and
Great.
we climb over the top of them, can climb over the top of them, so, and hang
Good.
on them and things like that. So it's very exciting. And then the backdrop comes from my business partner and good friend, Margot Campsey.
I know her.
Yeah, I think so. When I had seen a Broadway production of Jekyll and Hyde that was actually on tour, they had used backdrops that were done in black and white. And their lighting effects on those backdrops is what caused the black to really stand out. So, I mean, it would be black and red and black and orange, black and, whatever color combination they came
Sure.
up with. And as soon as I saw this, and this is well over a year ago that I had seen this, I said, I'm going to use that on the stage someplace. And in coming up with the set design, I thought about, okay, here we go, the black and white Psych, with a painting on it, and New York. And I originally thought of a skyline. And I wasn't thinking artistically what would look right. And then I went to Margot and said, okay, I would like you to do this project for me. Will you do this full mural on the back of the stage of New York for me on a white Psych with black paint?
Now, explain what a Psych is.
Oh, a Psych is a piece of material that is a cyclorama. It's supposed to actually curve around the back, but ours just sort of just goes across the back.
Right.
So it's a big backdrop. And so I asked her if she would do this project, and she agreed to do it. And all I said was I wanted New York, in the backdrop. And then she came back with the back alleys of New York, which was like, yeah! And that was,
That was one of those moments.
that was one of those moments for her,
Right.
But for me, it was very exciting because it took it out of just New York and made it where Westside Story takes place.
Great.
In the back streets of New York. That's where Westside Story is. That's where the Sharks and the Jets are.
Well, and you can certainly get that feel being on this set. So I think you've been successful. Tell us about auditions. I know before this started, you were really worried that you wouldn't have all the selection that you needed because this is a difficult show.
Yes, the talent level needed to be extremely high, and we have that talent in this area, and we have some of the best actors and actresses in this theater, community theater group. What I was concerned about was a lot of young people that had been acting in our theater group or on their way to college, and
Right.
this show starts after college, is after college starts. So worried about vacations and summer jobs, all those elements, because I needed a young group of people. So I really was concerned about it. I did a lot of pre-advertising and announcements to people and made phone calls months before school closed and sent flyers to the school before the schools got out to try to get the word out about the audition. So when it came to audition night and I had 30 people standing in front of me, I was very, very pleased, and so we did have a good turnout at auditions. The young people, there are conflicts to work with,
Sure.
such as those things I just mentioned, the summer vacations and work and stuff. But I can work with those, and based on the time frame that those individuals have conflicts, it's been okay for the show. And all the conflicts seem to end at the important stages of this show, which is the full run-through week and the dress rehearsal week and, of course, performances. All the conflicts seem to end around that time frame. So I know that it's going to be fine when it comes down to full run-throughs.
Well, great. Tell us about your leading roles, Tony and Maria. Who are the folks doing that?
Well, two difficult roles and two difficult shoes to fill. Wayne Morrison is playing Tony, and he's new to our theater group. He is a soldier at Fort Leavenworth.
Oh, great.
And so this will be his first performance down in this theater here, and has a wonderful voice. Our second Tony is, I do have an understudy for Tony, who will
okay.
be doing a couple of performances.
Oh.
His name is Chris Miller, and he has been on the stage a number of times before. Chris joined the show very late because of his work schedule prior to the auditions, and it just didn't feel that he could commit to the show. And I felt that it would be beneficial to the show that if we had an understudy for Tony, in case some other conflicts came up, and there are some military duties that Wayne has that would cause a few lapses in the rehearsal schedule here and there. So I asked Chris to understudy it. And but like I said, he's been on stage before in The Secret Garden. He played the lead in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. Yeah. And most recently, he was on stage in King and I at the same time frame last year at this time. And then our Maria is Tatiana Brenes. who has been on the stage a number of times here in this theater group and has played on stage in Lansing High School too, in their musical theater productions as well as their regular theater productions at Lansing High School. This will be her first major role on this stage here, but she has the lyric soprano voice that we were looking for, Marcia and I, my musical director, that I was looking for and she was looking for when it came down to auditions. So we're very excited about having Tatiana play the role.
Great. She's developing good in that lead part.
Oh, yes, she is.
Okay.
Yes, she is. She's very conscientious and enthusiastic about it.
Okay. I was helping her build a balcony. She said she's afraid of heights, and we'll see how high that is.
On the auditions, I did mention that Tony and Maria cannot be afraid of heights.
What about some of the principal supporting roles?
Oh, a wonderful cast. I am just so happy. The major supporting roles of Anita, Bernardo, and Riff, the musical talents of Riff and Anita, I'm just very pleased with, and the acting talent. Riff is being paid by John Hutchinson, and he's got 2 wonderful songs, and he's got a terrific voice, and he's got a great look about him, and he's going to be a great New York thug. My Jets, I mean, staying within the Jet category, all my Jets, they're moving, they're dancing, they're singing, they have a great sound, a great look about them, and they get a great camaraderie about themselves too when they're joking around on stage. On the Shark side of the house, Bernardo comes from Kansas City. His name's Joseph Serrano. It's his first time being on this stage in Leavenworth here, and I've worked with him before though when I've directed in Kansas City. And Joseph is a great Bernardo. That strong man that you want to be Bernardo. That's very confident and cocky man.
Sure.
He's very good. Anita is being played by Sarah Van Horn, someone that I kind of know. And she's been on the stage many times down here in Leavenworth and around in Kansas City. And she brings a nice spiciness to the role and it's a hot tamale on stage. So they make a great couple on stage too, and it's really funny. Here is my wife, and they have a kissing scene. It's not a big kissing scene, but there is a kiss, and it's like, Joe, take her by the head, kiss her. It's okay.
All right. Hang in there.
So, oh yeah, it's fine. No, I mean it's for the show, so it's okay.
Good.
But I'm very, very happy with the cast, and the thing is that we're really starting to gel now. We're really starting to get close with each other, and we're doing the hugs and the good nights and the smiles, and we're having a good time on stage as well as off stage together as a group.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I tell you what, let's go to another part of the stage.
Okay.
You've probably noticed a big difference in the audio quality if you're watching this at home. We decided to unhook ourselves from the mic so we can move the camera back and you'd get the full effect of the balcony. Eric, why don't you tell us about this? We're pretty high up, aren't we?
We're very high up. I think we're on the highest up that we've ever performed out in front. We're out in front of the Proscenium Arch here at the theater, and on both sides there are buildings on the front of the stage, and this one is a working building. The other one is just a facade. We are right now off the stage floor. We are a total of 8.5 feet off the stage floor. And off the actual theater floor, add another 3 feet onto that because we have a 3 foot, or 4 foot, excuse me, about another 4 foot onto that. So we're way up here, pretty high. We're actually level with the balcony of the theater. And, but when you do Westside Story, you have to have the fire escapes in New York.
Right.
You have to have the balcony scene for tonight, and this is a balcony. This is why they call it a balcony. We're secure. It's built. We're on a 3/4 inch plywood platform up here, which is on, and this is all resting on 3/4 inch plywood platforms, and there's a whole infrastructure behind this. And once again, it goes to the credit of those that help build sets and help make these things happen. There's been a big crew of people working on the sets for the last couple of weekends. Tom Lahan running as a crew chief and construction chief on all of this and coming up with some of the engineering things. He's an inspector of houses, so he knows what's safe and what isn't safe. And I'm very thankful to all the volunteers that we had, because we couldn't even lift up the things that we have up here if we didn't have a whole crew of volunteers coming down here.
Right.
And we actually physically built the set in one weekend.
Wow. Yeah, it's really something. Well, I tell you what, then let's get down from here and get next to that mic again.
Okay.
Ooh, it's good to get our feet back on the ground here. The balcony is just a little bit too high for me. Eric, tell us a little bit about your production crew.
Production crews are always very important to me. There's a lot of dance in this show, and I have 3 choreographers working on the show together.
3?
3 of them. Tara Ruff is working on I Feel Pretty. She's going to be doing that song, and this will be her first time choreographing on the stage here. Someone who I've worked with a number of times before, Michelle Morgan. She's choreographing the big dance number at the dance, and she's also doing America. And then my other choreographer, who's doing all the male stuff and working on a special number with my musical director, a special routine before the Rumble, is Sarah Van Horn. And Sarah Van Horn is the choreographer director. She and I have been discussing the choreography of the show for the last 6-7 months and going through with ideas. And she's imparted those ideas and those concepts onto the other choreographers within the show.
Great.
Also on my production staff, first-time stage manager is Teresa Hingula, who I am just tickled by. She's great. She is the best explanation of this is I was thirsty. I was doing direction. I was giving directions on stage to people, and I was just thirsty, and I called off. I said, "Sarah, you got any water left in your bottle?" And Sarah said, "No, she didn't." And I'm going on. Okay, fine. And I'm going on, and I'm really dry. Anyway, 2 seconds later, here comes Teresa with a bottle of water for me. And it's like. I just appreciate that so much, and I appreciate her being there. So I'm very happy, and she's doing extremely well. And another person to mention on my production staff who actually isn't, she along with me is in charge of the production staff, and that's my right hand in any musical that I do, is Marcia Canaday. The 2 of us are a team. We work together as a team, we come into a show as a team, and we stay together as a team. We care about each other as personally as well as professionally here working in the theater. We both respect each other tremendously. We are able to communicate non-verbally with each other on ideas. It is a great working relationship that has developed over the course of the last 3-4 years. It is one that will continue to be a very strong, I believe, and I'm very believing in that we are a strong musical direction team. And that's what we are. We are a team when we come into this together. It isn't, though I'm responsible for it, it's still, I feel, very important. She is very important to me.
Great. Did she bring in an accompanist this time?
Yes, Johnny Bryce from Lansing High School is assisting us.
Exactly,
is assisting. She is the choral director at Lansing High School, and she is assisting us on this production. Marcia wanted to take more time on this production to stand back into the audience and hear, because she usually musically directs from her piano. And so we've asked Johnny to help out so Marcia can step away from that piano every once in a while and go ahead out in the audience and then give a good listen to the voices, since the music is so difficult in the show.
Right. Excellent. And is that working pretty well for us?
Yes, okay. So far. Marcia's
Great.
Enjoying it, and I'm very supportive of whatever she wanted to do.
Okay. Well, let's not forget to ask, when's the show going to happen?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we are putting on a show. We open on August 18th. The show performs for the last 2 weekends of August and Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
Now, it performs on Fridays and Saturdays for the first and the last weekend, which is Labor Day weekend. But on the middle weekend, we have a Sunday matinee performance, and that starts at 2 o'clock. We are very interested in having this performance because it opens up more opportunities for families to come down and enjoy our theater, and also senior citizens that feel it's a little bit too late that our shows run. So that's the reason why we've developed this community program for those individuals that can't make it to our regular evening performances to have that Sunday matinee. So we hope for a lot of support.
Excellent. Now, how would folks make reservations?
Oh, they can contact the River City Community Players Ticket Office, where we have a 24-hour hotline there where they can make their reservations. And I can give you that number, which is 682-7557. But instead of writing it down, just look in the phone book. It's under Theaters Live, River City Community Players.
Excellent. Well, Eric, thank you very much. And folks at home, we hope you've enjoyed this first edition of the Script on Video.